Hey, this is Ryan, and I'm your Unexceptional Craftsman for this build. So I've recently been making beverage dispensers using glass construction blocks that you can purchase online or at your local big box store. As you can see at the top of the screen, I have a picture of one that I made recently in the traditional diamond-shaped style that can be found all over Etsy and in how-to videos here on YouTube. Anyway, after watching the Fallout series on Amazon Prime, I started playing Fallout 76 again, just to get re-immersed into the world, and I was trying to think of ideas of something I could do for this project. And then it came to me. A Fallout-inspired beverage dispenser based on the Vault-Tec logo. Which would also be a pretty cool idea for an in-game item, or an item to be used in the Fallout TV series. So Bethesda, let's figure out how we can make this a thing. So what you just saw me do was cut out the rough shape of the main body of the beverage dispenser that I have now taken over to the router table to flush trim using one of the templates that I showed earlier in the video. Launching chunks of your workpiece into oblivion is one downside of using a router, but this project would have been significantly more difficult without it. Now over to the drill press to drill some starter holes so I can use the jigsaw to cut out the inside diamond shape for the glass block. The jigsaw is a decently affordable and versatile tool that can be used to make a variety of cuts, including some intricate ones if you have the skill set to do so, which I do not, so I used mine for making quick rough cuts that I then clean up on other tools. Now with the center cut out, it's time to take this over to the router table and get it cleaned up. When making rough cuts, it's a good idea to leave as little material left over as possible so you don't have as much to clean up later on. Leaving too much material results in multiple passes on the router, or it results in issues like this one. Or even worse, this one. Another piece launched into oblivion. As frustrating as mistakes can be, they offer an opportunity to learn and grow. Just don't give up on your project. It may not end up being like you had originally planned, but you can take those mistakes and turn them into new features, or perhaps even alter the vision of your project and make it into something new. Later on in the background of the video, you'll see a wood carving that I made years ago where I messed up half of the face. So I altered my vision and turned it into a bookend. While not what I had originally planned, it does make a pretty cool bookend. Just to give you an idea of scale, the glass block is roughly 6 by 6 and a little over 3 inches thick, so that's why I used 3 layers of wood. Now back over to the bandsaw to cut out what are essentially the ends of the Vault-Tec logo, which will also serve as supports to hold the main body of the beverage dispenser. As you can probably tell, I'm cutting out a space for a gear tooth on the main body of the beverage dispenser to slide into. This is being done so that the main body of the beverage dispenser can be removed as a standalone piece and for easy cleaning. Now let's see how many more times I say main body of the beverage dispenser in this video. So I already had a glass block prepared and ready from a previous project that I was going to use for this project, but somehow I scratched the mess out of it. So lucky for you, you get to see the steps on how to prepare one of these glass construction blocks to hold liquid for a beverage dispenser. Look at that, turning a mistake into an opportunity for others to learn. It's actually fairly simple. Figure out where you want the holes to be, surround them in plumber's putty, add water, and drill them out using glass cutting hole saws corresponding to the sizes of your chosen spout and stopper. You do have to start off drilling at an angle to get it to bite, but once it does, you turn the drill vertical and drill right through. So now you finally get to see all of those various different pieces coming together, which is a pretty good indicator of what the final project is going to look like. It also shows the repetitiveness of working in layers. Everything you've seen so far is what I had to do for each layer, which is time consuming to say the least. Obviously, I could have gotten thicker pieces of wood and reduced the total number of layers, perhaps even down to just 1 layer. But that would have required me to look further than my garage, and sounds like something an exceptional craftsman would do, which I am not. Now with that said, if I were to do this project out of wood again, I probably would reduce it down to 2 layers, and choose a species of wood that is less prone to having chunks getting launched into oblivion when using a router. I opted to use the laser cutter to cut out these pieces because I didn't want to run the risk of having the router table turn my fingers into ground meat. I've seen enough woodworking accidents, photos, and videos to know that the end results tend to be a bloody mess, and unfortunately, there is no real-world stim pack to fix that. I cut some black metal pipe to length off camera, and I'm now drilling the corresponding holes in the base supports that are eventually going to hold the main body of the beverage dispenser in place. This hole is being drilled to align with the hole that was drilled into the top of the glass block earlier, so that liquid can be added through a funnel, instead of having to pull the glass block out of the main body of the beverage dispenser each time you want to add your favorite beverage. As you might remember from my previous video, painting is not covered by any of my currently equipped perk cards, not even sprayable paint from a can. So the end result was, well, it got painted. Now I'm using a laser cutter to cut out some shiny acrylic faceplates to hopefully draw your attention away from my terrible paint job. Since this acrylic is the same type of acrylic I used in my last project, my cut settings are all saved in Lightburn, so I didn't have to spend as much time getting the cut settings dialed in for the material, which is always a plus.
You are listening to UCAR Radio. Grab a Nuka-Cola, sit back, and enjoy.
Now I'm test fitting the main body of the beverage dispenser to make sure the base lines up properly and everything slides in and out smoothly. I'm now gluing on the acrylic backplate that I cut out earlier to aid in alignment and help with stability for the base supports. As it turns out, this is way too much glue because some of it ended up showing through the acrylic in the final piece. I guess I just really didn't want this thing falling apart. But hey, the more you know. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a gluing mishap that resulted in me having to sand these pieces down, which ended up removing the glossy exterior finish of the acrylic. I think it worked out in the grand scheme of things though, because the muted color caused by the sanding actually looks closer to the color used in Fallout. Once again, way too much glue, but at least it didn't show through the acrylic like it did with the backplate. So what I'm cutting out now is something that I think adds a key piece of imagery to this project. It's a Vault-76 insert that fits into the center of the faceplate that you just saw. I made it friction fit so that it could be easily removed and replaced with other customized inserts. Although I didn't do it for this project, I think it would be cool to make a Vault Boy if I can find the right color acrylic. The 76 is now being cut out of yellow acrylic so that it can be inlaid into the blue acrylic insert. Getting this to fit precisely was a bit of trial and error for me because I'm lacking points in the intelligence attribute. Due to a slight miscalculation for the height of the spout opening on the faceplate, I had to add a second washer to the spout so that the glass block could properly fit into the main body of the beverage dispenser. I then have to add a third washer to the spout on the inside of the glass block, and I found that the easiest way to do this out of the tools on hand was to use a long neck screwdriver. Follow that up with the use of a flex socket wrench to hold the nut in place while I hand tighten down the spout onto the silicone washers and the glass. Using the 3 washers is a little finicky and requires them to be tightened down just right to prevent any leakage. And with that, the project is finished and gets a thumbs up.
Grab your hats, we're in for a blast. Nuclear war's coming fast. Gonna dance in fallout dust. Might as well prepare, we must. Stock your shelter with beans and jam. Bunkers cozy like a yam. Radiation suits in style. Duck and cover, stay a while. Boom, boom goes the mushroom cloud. Sing and swing and laugh out loud. Prepare, still we're doomed. But let's dance in the glow of the mushroom plume.